lot of money these days.
We have with us Patrick Moore this morning. Patrick, would you like to come and join us?
Certainly.
Because I want to find out what you think about this shuttle and what you think is interesting about it.
Well, it's because that's the essential part of the American space program, the manned program. You've got to have a recoverable spacecraft, otherwise you can't go very much further. Interesting you mentioned the Wright brothers just now. You know, I actually met Orville Wright.
Really?
Yeah. He didn't die till late 1940s, and I met him when I was learning how to fly, and that's a long time ago now.
What sort of man was he?
Well, he was an old man when I met him, of course. Oh, he was a delightful chap. But what interests me is that Orville Wright and Neil Armstrong could actually have met. I mean, they didn't, but they could have done.
In theory, they could have met.
Could have done. Their lives overlapped.
Was he actually, was he surprised at the way everything had gone, or did he?
I think he was, yes. Mind you, he gave up really about 1920, you know. I don't think he flew after that himself. I mean, Wilbur died in 1912. I didn't know him because we get well. And I think Orville didn't do much more after that.
Was he the sort of man who showed the enormity of his success? I mean, the significance of it?
I only met him just that once, and for about 10 minutes, I suppose. Yeah. But, no, I don't think he was.
What would you do? I'll lumber you. You've got a cubic foot of room, and what would Patrick Moore send on the shuttle?
What would I send on a shuttle? Oh, some kind of cosmic ray detector, I suppose. Something to measure what's coming in from outer space. Well, it's been done plenty of times before now.
You wouldn't send school dinners?
No, we don't want to contaminate space, do we?
One thing you could almost send is this box containing Petula Clark. I knew I was going to say that. It wasn't Petula Card on the programme, it was Petula Clark's cards.
Right.
Her swap included a very nice, what do you call them, bosun's whistle.
Yeah.
And there's an LP and a sweatshirt as well. It was a delight to have her on. Could you have a delve on
all these
please?
cards are correct, I think.
Yes.
And I have to pick one out.
Yes. What we wanted to know was how many children Maria von Trapp had altogether. Oh, would you have known?
No.
No. Well, I didn't.
Right, here we go.
Dramatic moment.
And here's the winner. It is Christopher Burrows of 175 Old Bedford Road, Luton.
Well done.
There were 9 children.
There were 9. Let's have a cheer for Christopher, please.
Well done, Christopher.
Very good. Calls to Patrick Moore, please. 018118055. Patrick will be with us for a while. We'll poison him with our coffee. Well done once again to Christopher. Back to Cardiff.
Yes, I've chatted to Patrick Moore, you know, smashing guy. I'm sure he'll tell you some interesting things there. Anyway, we've got interesting things.
The money matters one, though, got me worried.
Yeah, does that mean anything to you? Are you keen on the stars in that sense?
Not a lot. I hesitate to say anything sitting next to Patrick. But, basically, I think I take astrology completely with a pinch of salt, although I have this sneaking suspicion that there may possibly, somehow or other, be something in it, but probably in a completely different way than the astrologers think. I've got myself out of that, Patrick.
Well, I'd take it not with a grain of salt, with a complete salt mine, I may say. Sheer, absolute rubbish. And astrology proves one thing and one thing only. It shows quite clearly that there's one born every minute. I've known some quite sincere astrologers, and they're very pleasant people, but nutty as fruitcakes.
Very good, excellent. Just before we move on to some calls for you, Patrick, I believe we have another suggestion for the Space Shuttle cargo.
A late cube. No, this is very, very appropriate, actually, for considering a cube. We've got Jeremy Alvery from Bromley. He suggests taking 72 Rubik cubes in space with him. Just with him on this, so presumably he wants to go up as well.
Ultimate frustration.
Well, presumably, you know, if you've got nothing to do, just sort of, you know.
Have you had a go at the Rubik Cube?
I have.
And are you any good?
Total and utter defeat.
Pick up the telephone, please, Patrick. We got Jason Corley on the line. Jason?
Hello?
Hello, good morning, Jason.
Can it's Patrick, please?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, Jason.
Do you think the Space Shuttle will ever be a passenger service?
The Space Shuttle itself, well, the one we've got at the moment, the prototype won't, obviously, but it does get, it will lead, I think, eventually to a passenger service. You see, the Space Shuttle is an absolutely vital part of the American space program. If we're ever going to have space stations, as I'm sure we will, then you've got to have shuttles taking people up and down. So in that respect, eventually it will be, I think, a passenger service, yes, but not quite yet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye, Jason.
It's Sarah Wall next. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, can I pick...
Yes.
Yep.
Hello, Sarah. Hello.
Patrick, please.
Hello, Sarah. I'm here. What can I do for you?
Were you interested in astronomy when you were younger? And do you think there's life on other planets?
Well, to start with, yes, I was. I got interested in astronomy when I was 6 years old, reading a book that belonged to my mother, who was also interested. Life on other planets, I think the answer is in our own particular solar system. That's the planets that go around the sun. Probably not. There's life on the Earth. Whether it's intelligent, I don't know. And I think the only other possibility has been Mars. but the Viking probes that are landed there don't indicate there's anything on Mars either. So I think if we're going to find life, we've got to go outside our own solar system. But the Sun is only one of millions upon millions of stars, and although I can't prove it, I feel quite sure that there is life on planets going around other stars. This gets a jolly long way away.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye. Stephen Jeffers, hello.
Hello. Do you know what a comet's tail is made of? And if not, how will a satellite going through Halley's Comet detect it?
Well, first of all, we have a pretty good idea what comets' tails are made of. A big comet's got two kinds of tails, a gas tail and a dust tail. I don't mean the kind of dust you get in a dusty room, but the very small particles. And there are these two kinds of tails. But of course, not every comet has a tail. Halley's Comet, yes, that's on its way back now. We should start to see that with the naked eye, but the end of 1985 and for the first bit of 1986. And of course, it'll be picked up with telescopes long before that. Unfortunately, the Americans have cancelled the probe they were going to send to Halley's Comet, which I think is a great pity. But the European Space Agency is planning one called Giotto, and the Japanese and the Russians may also have a go. We don't know very much yet about the nucleus of a comet. That's right inside the head. We know much more about the tail.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Elizabeth Sherwin.
Hello, Patrick.
Hello, Elizabeth.
What made you so interested in the stars?
Difficult to say. As I said, as I told Jason just now, I read a book when I was 6 years old. It interested me. I went out and started finding the various stars and identifying them, and it just caught hold of my imagination. I can't really answer that question, Elizabeth, but why is anyone interested in anything, really? It just happens to appeal to me.
Okay, did that answer your question?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take some more calls when they get set up. Have you any idea what form life might take? I mean, is there something in your imagination that tells you what you'd like to see?
If you have a star like the Sun, and there are plenty of those in our star system or galaxy alone, and you have a planet like the Earth, going around at about the same distance from their star as we are, I would expect to find life very like ourselves. I mean, life has evolved here from very small single-celled creatures into you and me, and why shouldn't the same thing happen on a world like the Earth? If conditions are different, then life will be different too. But although you might quite easily have an intelligent astronomer with 2 heads and 4 arms, why not? So he wouldn't really be what we call a bug-eyed monster, because he'd be made up of the same kind of materials as you and me. He'd need the same kind of environment.
So do you feel the same way about science fiction and some of the writings and the images produced as you do about, say, astrology?
Not a bit, because the astrologers set out to be serious. They are. They think they are. And science fiction is not. Science fiction is there for entertainment. And mind you, some of the old science fiction novels and some of the new ones have got a lot of truth in them. I mean, read the books by my old friend Arthur Clarke, for example. He was very near the truth in many ways.
We've got Tanya on the line. Another one's been set up. So let's talk to Tanya, who's got an unbelievable surname, so I'll stick to the Christian name.
Hello, Tanya.
Hello, Patrick.
Yes, I'm here.
Have you ever had the urge to go up into space?
Would you
Have
mind
you
saying
ever
that
had the urge to go up into space amongst the galaxy and the stars?
Well, I would love to go up into space, but I'm not going to be able to, because for one thing, I'm too old. I'm now 58 years old, and that's far too old to go into space, I'm
But if
afraid.
you could be cramped into 1 cubic foot, we could send you on the shuttle, couldn't we?
Well, I weigh rather a lot. Anyhow, the shuttle, don't forget, won't go among the stars and the galaxies. It's a very local thing. When we talk about exploring space, we don't at the moment mean going out to the stars. I mean, the Voyager 2 probe, that's now left Jupiter and Saturn, is on its way to first Uranus and then Neptune, and then out of the solar system. And we think it'll be something like 340,000 years before it goes somewhere near Sirius.
Tanya, I'm a terribly curious person. What was that scream in the background? What caused that?
It's my horrible brothers. They're horrible, you know. They're awful brothers I've got.
Would you like us to pop them on the shuttle for you?
Yes, I wouldn't send them all around. Yes, no, I wouldn't want them to come back anyway.
What are their names?
Byron.
Byron?
Yes, Dominic.
Dominic?
And Sasha.
You really are up against it with 3 of them, aren't you?
Yes, they're very lively.
Well, go and give them a kick now and make a noise.
Sisterly affection.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tanya. Bye. Julia
Bye-bye.
Manning. Hello, Julia.
Hello, Noel. Patrick.
Hello, Julia.
How do you identify all the stars? Because they all look the same to me.
I didn't get that.
How do you identify the stars?
Well,
they all look the same to Julia.
Well, in point of fact, it's quite easy. The stars make up patterns or constellations, which are not genuine groups at all, because the stars are at different distances from us, but the stars are so far away that even though they're moving about in space very quickly, they don't seem to move perceptibly, because they're just too distant. So when you find a star group or constellation, it always looks much the same. So the thing to do is to take some kind of a simple star map, go out and find just 1 or 2 of the main constellations, the Great Bear, and in the wintertime all round. And you can use those as pointers to find all the rest. And it doesn't take as long as you might think. After all, how many stars do you think you can see without a telescope on a clear night? Have a guess.
Loads, millions.
No, the answer is less than 3,000, you say. Not nearly so many as you might think. And therefore, when you found the main ones, you can find the other constellations from there. It doesn't take long, believe me. And I'd advise you to do it, because the stars get so much more interesting when you know which is which.
Right. There, Julia. You'll have to be praying for a nice clear night tonight. Keith.
Bye.
Bye. Keith.
Hello?
Hello, Keith.
Hello, I'm Patrick. Which is the largest star in the known universe, please? That you know about?
Well, the bit difficult to say. The one possible candidate is the second member of a pair called Epsilon Aurigi. And you can see that with the naked eye, which is quite close to the bright star Capella. Or rather, you can see the brighter member of the pair. The other one, the faint one of Epsilon Aurigi, which we can't actually see because it radiates only in the infrared, may be the largest star we know, and if so, it will swallow up most of the solar system right out to the orbit of Uranus. We can't be sure.
Thank you. Can I have your autograph, please?
All right.
Yes, you can.
We'll organise that. The first to ask gets. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Who thinks of the names?
Well, that isn't actually a name. It's a catalogue number. See, the Greeks divided the stars up into constellations, and they're the ones we use. But a constellation isn't really a group of stars at all, because the stars are different distances from us. If I hold up my hand now, I line it up with your nose, and I say, but I'm not going to say my finger's in your nose. It's not. It's much closer to me. So the planets are much closer than the stars, and the stars are at different distances. And we happen to use the Greek patterns, but if we use the Chinese or the Egyptians, that would be quite a different pattern. And that's another reason why astrology is such rubbish, of course.
Is there an international standard? I mean, such like
certainly is.
botanists use Latin too.
Absolutely so. Way back in the year 1932, the International Astronomical Union, which is the controlling body of world astronomy, they finally refined all the constellation boundaries. But they're quite arbitrary. The names of the stars are mainly Arabic, oddly enough. Not all of them. One that's not is Sirius, which many people call Sirius. Should be Sirius, really, and that's a Greek name. But most of the star names are Arabic.
Good. Oh, well, I've learned something. A swap, please, Patrick.
Yes, well, I've got a book there. What about
It really is a superb book, I must say. I was looking at it yesterday, and I don't know how much justice we can do to some of the pictures in here. Would you like to, while I try and find some of the pictures that particularly interested me?
We'll turn on to Saturn, for example.
Well, this is where you ought to be doing this, because...
there's a picture of the Earth.
Yes, well, this is what I found particularly interesting. In view of the fact we're talking about the shuttle, some of the pictures taken from orbiting satellites are quite magnificent. The geology of the Earth, and there's the weather patterns is interesting as well. There we go.
Well, you see, we treated the Earth as a planet in that book, because after all, the Earth is a planet. It's an ordinary member of the solar system, so in doing an atlas of the universe, you've got to begin with an atlas of the Earth from space.
Yeah.
Then we go on to the other planets, then from there, and then into the stars.
It really is a superb book. A great prize. I want it. What's the question?
Right, here we go. Listen carefully. Where would you find Tharsis? I'll spell it for you. Tharsis. Where would you find Tharsis?
You know. Tell me, Max. Tell me, because I want to...
Leave me off with no.
Swap Shop, BBC TV, London, W12, 8QT. Hello.